Joe Lauzon's UFC debut was against Jens Pulver, and Jens Pulver at the time was the one and only person to have held the UFC lightweight title. He was crowned the lightweight champion, and then there was a contract dispute, and they basically dissolved the division. And from that point, Jens Pulver was away fighting in Pride and wherever else he could get a fight. Jens was, and still is, one of my favorite fighters. You know, slick boxing, you know, a very, very talented southpaw. He was a lightweight fighting out of the Miletich camp, and they were all absolute monsters as well, all bigger than him, all wrestlers. So Jens Pulver was a real name to have on your record. Joe Lauzon coming into the UFC. So what was this? UFC 63, September of 2006. If you think about this, some people would actually think that Cerrone was in the UFC long before Joe Lauzon, and that's not the case at all. Joe Lauzon was actually in the UFC before Cowboy made his WEC debut, so it just shows you how long he's been around. He's not been fighting quite as often as Cowboy, but then not many people do. So here we are, Joe Lauzon, he's 22 years old, his record's 12-3, and this is September 2006. And he's making his UFC debut against the returning Jens Pulver, who was, I believe, a 7-1 favourite. And, well, I mean, you know, Joe Lauzon's always been one of those unassuming kids. But he really looks like a kid in this. And you know, on one side you've got Joe Lauzon, who, to be honest, at the time, I kind of felt like they were bringing somebody in to get a big win on Jens Pulver's record so they could move him towards a title, because, you know, it was all about reintroducing the lightweight division to the UFC at the time. I mean, Jens is just a fantastic fighter. You know, he had such a warm reaction. Everyone was expecting him just to come take over the lightweight division again, me included. And then Joe Lauzon just jumped on him. I mean, we're looking like seconds into the first round. And he catches him with this long hook, goes to clinch him with a knee, just misses the knee, but then catches him with this wild hook. And this is a signature finish of Joe Lauzon, and a signifier of how his performances go in a lot of his fights. 28 wins on his record, 18 first-round finishes. The reason why I find that interesting for this one is because Cowboy is a notoriously slow starter. So 16 losses on Cowboy's record, 7 losses in the first round. He does take some time to warm up. He does like a fight that kind of starts at a steady sparring pace, where he's able to establish his rhythm and his timing and his distance, and then he's dangerous. Joe Lauzon doesn't give most people that opportunity. He is ferocious out of the gate. You know, he'll give you a second or two, you know, like 20 seconds or so, but then when he goes, it's like this demon coming out of him. And most of the time what you'll see is his hips and his feet are way behind him. It's body first, he's pulling these wild faces and he's swinging these big punches. And they're the kind of things that Joe Lauzon way back in, 2006, that is the main asset that he brings to the table against Cowboy, who potentially struggles with these kind of fast starters. So there's a brief exchange, and Joe Lauzon had come out and taken Jens Pulver down, and they just got back to their feet. So the first sort of 30 seconds or so is Lauzon trying to get in a position where he can attack with submissions over Jens Pulver, because that's his A game. He really wants to finish with submissions. But this, you know, Jens Pulver, good takedown defense, good scrambling ability, great sub defense, got back to his feet. And then this was the exchange. I mean, you can see the level change there, which gets a reaction out of Jens, drops to his knees because he thinks he needs to sprawl there. And as he's getting back up, I mean, look at Lauzon, look how extended he is. He is pitching that like it's a baseball, and he is wild, goes straight into a clinch, throws a knee, and this is flow state. This is Yuri Prochazka kind of stuff. I mean, he is just wild, just where's the finish? And these are the kind of shots that will get through on Cowboy. I mean, like, watch this. Watch the distance on this shot. As Jens is pulling away, thinks he's got out the tie clinch. Bang! Right on the tip of his chin. And you can see Lauzon's literally falling into his next punch. He doesn't mind where he goes. He'll tumble and fall his way through the fight because he's very good with the mechanics when it hits the ground. You know, it's a kryptonite of Cowboy. You know, he doesn't like people being aggressive and standoffish with him. He likes those fights that feel like a sparring session with his mates. Like, you think to the Yancy Medeiros fight where they're like arms around each other on the stage and fist bumping, and that was a fun one until Cowboy picked up the win. Darren Till, on the other hand, like in his face, making him feel very uncomfortable, pressured him early. You know, Leon did the same, nearly got him out of there in the first round as well. He struggles with people that come to hurt him. And I feel like although Joe Lauzon might be meek and friendly and not want to make eye contact too much and, you know, all that kind of stuff, when the fight starts and you get that wild man coming out, you know, the kid, he's Ricky Bobby's youngest son on Talladega Nights, the little ginger kid. I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey. That is Joe Lauzon. He is the spider monkey. He is this ferocious, like, rabid animal that's got this mixed martial arts skill set that is very, very adaptable. He's a really difficult person to deal with. If Joe Lauzon comes and starts real quick on Cowboy, he might catch him cold. He might catch him a bit panicked, of course. I mean, Cowboy's on a 5-fight losing streak, not including a no contest to Nico Price. That is a lot of losses that hang over you. I've been there, 4 losses in a row. It hangs over you. You feel that pressure when you're walking out because this might be your last one. I mean, you can't imagine Cowboy being released and going and fighting somewhere else. So most likely, if he doesn't win this one, that's the choice he's got to make. Do I go somewhere else, or is this the end of my career? That's a big pressure, especially because, you know, Cowboy loves this so much. And it's been over a year since he was in there last, and that also doesn't work out well for Cowboy. He likes that constant work rate where he doesn't have to deal with the, here I am, high anxiety for a fight, and then time away, and that anxiety decreases, and then all of a sudden you go, whack! You know, that's the timeout, that's the, you know, all the drawbacks of not being very active. And Cowboy's never dealt with that very well. And someone that starts fast and is very aggressive, I feel like they might be able to catch him cold.